Callum, and this is the handover of the Chausson Titanium Premium 644. So as we start the walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first, opening the driver's door, there's a sticker here which shows the tyre pressures and tyre size of the tyres in bar and PSI. So if you ever need to blow your tyres up, look there and it'll show you the correct pressures. Got your awning light, your fridge vents, your external gas point. So you'll get a fitting that goes in the bottom here, which is a quick release connector, and you'll be able to use the bottle on board to power the gas through to your Kadak, awning heater or external barbecue. To drain off your dirty water, which is your waste water, so anything that's gone down a plug hole, shower, hand basin, kitchen sink, pull the lever out over the designated disposal point on site, and it'll drain out directly out underneath the vehicle. In the back of the garage, so using the habitation key, which is your small key, you can open all your locks on the motorhome body. You've got a light when the control panel's on. You've got tethering points in all four corners of the garage. You've got your cargo nets for your bed, your ladders, your awning winding handle if it's fitted with an awning from factory, habitation carpets, carb carpets and external silver screens. On the back of the vehicle you've got a high level brake light and rear view camera. If you're going to fit a bike rack, this is where the back panel has been strengthened to take a Fiamma bike rack, so you can connect to here. And you've got your rear bumper. Coming in to the smaller door on the passenger side of the garage. Behind here on the 644 is where your boiler is. So your boiler's actually up here, but you've got to drain your boiler off in the winter. So this little yellow toggle is what's known as your winter valve. So it's your drain down valve to drain your boiler down in the winter. So when it's lying down like so, your boiler can hold 10 litres of water. If you lift that up, you'll notice the water come out underneath the van. Leave that stood up during the time you've got the vehicle packed away in the winter and not in use, so no water freezes in the boiler, because if it does, it's not under warranty, as it's your responsibility to drain it down, and it'll cost you a canny bit to repair or replace that boiler. You then want to leave all your taps open in the vehicle to stop any water from coiling up and any pipe work behind any furniture board and worktops. And then when you come to reuse it, obviously put it down, fill the vehicle with water, make sure that your freshwater cap's on, make sure that your waste shut, make sure this is shut, fill with water, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get a pressurized cold water feed because it's drawing it straight from the cold water tank to the tap. Go to the hot, it then transfers the water from the cold water tank to the boiler, so it fills the boiler with 10 litres first. So you get a lot of air and coughing and spluttering through the taps until you get a free flow of water from the hot side. Then when it's a pressurised flow, you know your system is primed, and then you can do all your other taps and it shouldn't take much longer to do. But remember, lift it up in the winter, leave it up once it's stood up and not in use, parked in the storage yard or parked on the drive, not in use, just so no water does freeze in the boiler. You've got your freshwater intake here. So to fill with fresh water, go and get yourself a hose pipe, a brand new one. Can be one of them collapsible ones or just a normal hose pipe, and some hose pipe connections, because it's mainly just a brass tap on most sites. Pop it into here, wait until it overflows or until you've got enough water on board, which you can see on your level indicator on your control panel, which I'll go through when I'm on board. And then underneath, should you want to drain it off for the winter, or you've taken on contaminated water, this is the location of your freshwater outlet. So you need to pull that black 15mm compression fitting off the pipe, and that'll drain off the full tank of water. The remaining 20 litres if you're using the travel drain, which I'll talk more about when inside, or you drain it down for the winter and you want to eliminate all the water in the tank, you'd pull that off. But remember to put it back on before you do start filling, once you're using the van in the upcoming season. Heating your water on gas, this cover must come off because it allows the fumes out. So hand on the top, thumb in the middle, peel it off, either put it in the garage or the passenger door pocket if you're heating your water on gas. If you're heating it on electric, it can stay on, and when you travel, if you just clip it back on to stop in there from getting dirty. Cold water shower for the dogs, the kids, the bikes, the boots. Make sure the pump's on. You've got a fitting that fits in here on a hose with a trigger gun on the other side to hose things off. Your toilet, so this is your cassette toilet. So again, using the habitation key to open the cassette loo. Making sure that the blade's closed on the inside of the toilet, which I'll talk more about when inside. You'll be able to lift the orange handle and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. If it was to be full, you can drag it to your disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block, and then to empty, take the grey cap off, press the orange button and tip the content out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap, so you put some water in, give it a rinse and tip out again. And then if you're using the chemical of the green or the blue, 125ml, so a cap full into here and it's good to go. If you're using the tablets, you can pop a pint of water in, which you can either do when it's outside the vehicle or when it's inside by flushing the toilet, followed by a sachet which is in a cellophane format straight into here, and that'll break down into the liquid. They're just a lot easier to carry than the bottles. To hook the vehicle up, if you're charging it at home or you're on site, get your hooker blade, lift the collar and slide on. Always hook the vehicle up first and then the power source, and do it in reverse order when unhooking. But when unhooking, there's a small blue clip in the left hand corner that you push down to release the pins in the hooker blade. In here you've got all your 12-volt fuses, so if you blow a 12-volt fuse, carry some spares and you can replenish the fuse. And then on mains electric, if your kettle or hairdryer or any large appliance trips the vehicle out, try here before you try your main sight. So you've got your main trip tester and your MCBs. And then finally you've got your gas locker, so this is your LPG. So it takes one 6kg bottle. To connect the pigtail to the bottle, it's a left-hand thread, opposite threads with it being gas, and then you will need either an adjustable wrench or a gas spanner to nip it up, give it the final nip, and turn on and off from the top of the bottle. Always turn it off before you travel, just to be safe when you're on the road. And then there's two straps, one at the top, one at the bottom. You just want to make sure that the bottle is strapped in so that it's stable when on the road and it's not going to cause any damage in your gas locker or it's going to prevent any gas leakage by strapping the bottle in. On the passenger door of the Transit, you've got your diesel filler, which is a capless system, so just push your diesel nozzle into there and fill with diesel fuel. And then below, because it's a new style diesel engine, it's got AdBlue, which is a 20 litre tank. It'll do 5,000 mile on a full tank. At 4,000 mile, you'll get a countdown of 1,000 mile. If you just top it up as soon as that light does come on, it'll come up AdBlue low. Pull into a service station, buy it on the pumps is cheaper than buying it in the barrels. But if you want to carry a drum, carry it with you, that's great. And top this up. Never let that mileage countdown go too low, because it will restrict the performance of the engine. And if it goes completely flat of low of AdBlue and drains the AdBlue tank and goes to 0 miles, it'll not start. And then to open your bonnet, use the key, pop the key in here, turn to the left to pop the bonnet, turn to the right to release the bonnet, and you've got all your fluids. So you've got your screen wash, your oil, your brake fluid, your oil dipstick, your coolant, and then because the battery's on the Ford, the engine battery's underneath the driver's seat and the leisure battery's underneath the passenger. If you want to jump start the engine battery, you put your positive terminal on here and your negative on there for giving or receiving a jump start. And then finally, you've got your weight plate, so chassis number on there, build number on the bottom here, weight plate, 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, so anyone can drive this on a standard car license. 3.5 ton train weight. If you want to put a tow bar on at present, you can't, because you don't have a tow weight. You've got to contact your Chausson dealer, get a tow bar order through them, through Trigano, just so it doesn't invalidate any warranties. And then you'll get a tow and weight, because you'll have to change your weight plate on the vehicle, change your logbook, and on the Fords automatics you can only tow 750 kilograms. So once inside the vehicle, you've got your control panel here. So this is your mains control panel. So to turn the vehicle on, you press the top left hand button, and if you're hooked up, you'll get this little green light here to indicate that you are receiving mains 230 volt. If not, you will just get 12 volt off your leisure battery. Then you can press this button here, which is your master switch for your lights, which are all then individually switched around the vehicle. This one of the pump, press this if you're going to use a taps, toilet or shower, and this will pressurize the water through the taps, toilet and shower. Obviously if you haven't got any water on board, don't put this on, because you can burn the pump out. And then you've got your on light at the top here, which is your outside light. These buttons correspond with these at the bottom. So you've got the one of the trailer, which is your leisure battery reading. Take the hook out to give a true reading of your leisure battery. You've got the one of the van, which is your engine battery reading. And then finally, you've got your fresh water readings. This is how you've got half a tank of fresh water on board, and when that goes red, it's gone into the red, it's time to refill. And when the one below goes red, it means your waste is full and you need to pull the handle behind the back rear driver's wheel. Press and holding, you can dim and brighten the panel should it be too bright or too dull for the people that are in the bed, or for you to see. You can brighten and dim it from here. To operate your Webasto smart controller, press the button. When it's white, you can go to the menu and you can scroll along, so you can set timers. You can set the heating and you can set the ventilation level. So there's 4 levels, which is just a 12 volt assisted fan. So if you don't want to use too much fan speed, you can just knock it down to 2 or 1, or right the way up to 4 if you want to circulate the heat in the winter. And then press enter. And that's the fan on. To pop the heating on, press and hold, and this is a quick start button. When it goes green, it's using your diesel heater, and then you can adjust the temperature all the way up to 35. Once you're happy, press, and that'll start to heat the vehicle up there to 33 degrees as I've chose. But make sure that you've got a quarter of a tank of diesel or more in the main engine tank, because they're on 2 different levels. So the feed for the diesel heater is a lot higher up than the engine, so that you're never going to wake up and you've got no fuel in your engine tank. But always make sure that you've got enough in, because if it goes too low you can suffer from getting an airlock. But just keep the diesel topped up before you arrive on site for your trip away. And then to turn off, you just go to white and then allow it to turn itself off, and this will just shut itself down after about 5 minutes. To operate your Dometic fridge, if you just press and hold the on off button here, which is in the top left hand corner, this one here, and it's a flush panel, so just press and hold, put your finger on the button and it should start working. And you'll know it's gone to auto. So auto is automatic, so it's an automatic energy selection. So what that does is it picks out the best source that the fridge has available. So we're hooked up at the moment, so it's going to hook up. So it knows not to waste the gas, even though we've got a gas bottle on which is full of gas. If I was to take the hookup out, it would switch over to gas and self-ignite. If I was to start the engine, it'd go to the battery setting, which is not off the leisure battery, it's off the alternator of the engine, which sends a feed to the fridge to keep it at the same temperature it was at when departing. So if you've been to a site, you've had your shopping in, your fridge is all chilled down to temperature and you're ready to move from site to site, leave it on auto and it'll go to battery, and then when you get to your site you'll just hook up and it'll go back to electric or gas. Or if you are packing the van a few days before you went away, put your fridge on about the day before, allow that to chill down for a few hours before you put your shopping in, and then allow that to chill overnight, and then when you start driving on automatic it'll switch over the engine, battery, to keep the shop nice and fresh, so when you arrive on site, no matter how long you've travelled, your shopping is nice and fresh and edible. But your if you wanted to change the mode, you can then go to manual. So you've got a battery and it's failed because the engine's not running, you can go to gas, or you can go to hookup. Please note with the automatic that once you turn off the engine, once it's been on 12 volt, it waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas. That's because if you want to pull into a petrol station and go for fuel, the last thing you want is this sparking in the background. So it waits 20 minutes before lighting. So if you were going wild camping, just knock it off automatic, put it onto manual gas mode, and it should light on gas. Got your temperature here as well, so when pre-chilling, max it out to 5. When you get your shopping in, just knock it down to 3 or 4 from personal experience, otherwise the fridge may start to freeze, which is not what you want. And you've got your large freezer box, and then when you've finished using the fridge for a couple of weeks, you're parking the van up or you're packing it away for the winter, take everything out, give it a clean out with some antibacterial sprays and wipes, and then the last thing you want to do is close the door, because it traps all that air in and then your van will start smelling and you'll start growing mold and bacteria into here. So you can pull these out and just rest that on that little tab there, and it'll keep the door ajar just to allow air circulation in and out. And then you do have handy travel catches, so if you don't want the door to open when you're traveling, when it's full, you can just slide them over, slide them to the left, front, top and bottom, and then to the back to open the fridge door once you're on site, and that'll take off the travel catch. In the washroom, you've got your shower cubicle. So your shower screens are tied back when you're travelling. Just remove the velcro straps and then you can use it as a separate shower screen. Handy hanging rail for your wet towels, but also doubles up great for wet coats or wet clothing if you've been out walking the dog out on the bikes or on the beach with the kids and you're covered in all sorts. You can hang it up there, use the shower head and hose it off. To open your skylight, you want to first of all unlock the lid, so push it to the right and then you can use the winder to open the skylight. But always make sure this is shut before travelling, and always lock the lid into place to stop the wind getting underneath it. And then you do have a fly net and a blackout blind. When winterizing, we always recommend that you remove your shower head from the hose. As you can see, the hose could coil any water up here, and lie the hose in your shower tray with all your mixer taps throughout the motorhome open, so including the shower, including the hand basin, and including the sink. Just leave them open in the middle position of the mixer. Your washroom light is located on the side of the sink, and that turns on the 2 or the 3 lights. Toiletry cabinet, and then you do have a frosted window, so to open the windows, which is the same on all the windows in the van, push the catch in and release the arms, push it out, push it all the way out and bring it in on the stairs, and you do have a fly screen, a blackout blind, and to depart the 2 screens, if you just pinch in the middle, and then you have full access to the window. Some more toiletry space underneath the sink, and then to operate the toilet, make sure the pump's on and you'll be able to press the blue button at the back. The blue button is your freshwater flush. So always flush the toilet first to lubricate the seal between the blade and the cassette. And then what you want to do is this grey lever, push it away from you to the right. Use the toilet with the blade open so you don't get the top of the blade messy and everything goes into the cassette. And then flush after use. If you've bought the twin packs of blue and pink, obviously there's nowhere this motorhome can take the pink because it hasn't got a separate header tank like caravans or older style motorhomes. So put it into a spray bottle and dilute it with some water. Spray the bowl, it'll clean the bowl and it'll give a fragrant smell. Then flush and it'll go into the cassette, and then slide this back to the left towards you to close the cassette off. And then if you're trying to get it outside, if you're trying to get the cassette out the vehicle outside even, the cassette's not engaged and you'll be able to pull it straight out when it's closed. If it was to be open away from you and you can see into the cassette, you'll not be able to get it out because the blade is engaged and the cassette won't become free of the vehicle. And then when it's ready to be emptied, you'll get a light underneath the diagram here in the top left to indicate that the cassette is ready to be emptied, flushed out and replenished with chemical. At the back of the vehicle you've got your transverse double bed and ladders neatly hidden away underneath, so just grab the ladders, pull them towards you and slide them down, and then you can gain access to the bedroom. You've got 2 12-volt points, a TV point if you fitted a TV aerial, as they don't come standard with the TV aerial. This is something that your dealer fits, and a 240-volt plug when hooked up. So you've got power in the bedroom. You've got some handy shelves and a light with 2 USBs on the bottom, and then pressing the catches underneath releases the cupboards off the travel catch, and you do have some storage at the back of the vehicle. You can also lift the bed up. You've got a privacy curtain to shut it off from the rest of the vehicle, and when you lift it up you can gain access to the garage, but you have got your hatch, so if it's raining outside you can get something that way, as well as over the top if it's a larger item. You've got your wardrobe with a wardrobe door, and you've got some storage here. The back one, your boiler's under here, so this is where your actual boiler sits. So if a technician needs to be in to replace a circuit board or anything on the boiler, it'd have to be in at the back. But if you're putting clothing in there, spare bedding, when the water heater's on, back here will get lovely and warm. To heat your water, you've got two different ways of heating water. So you've got gas and you've got electric. So you've got electric switch and you've got a gas switch. So starting off with the electric, it'll say Truma boiler EL and it'll say 230 volts. So you've got to be hooked up for this to work. And offset in the middle, you've got the bigger wattage being 2 kilowatts at the bottom, depending on what the site amperage gives you. Or you've got 1 kilowatt at the top. So 1 kilowatt, 750 watts, 2 kilowatts, 1500 watts. So depending on what the site amperage and what else you're running in the vehicle, determines whether you use 1 or 2 kilowatts of power to heat your water. If you're wild camping and because you wouldn't have access to electric, you'd have to use your gas. So you've got 50 degrees, or you've got 70 degrees of heating your water on gas. Should it be really cold and you're in desperate need and you're on a site of water, you can have your gas and electric on together, and that'll reduce the time it takes to heat the water from about 10 minutes to about 5. But your boiler on a motorhome is only 10 litres at a time, so do take that into consideration when you're having a shower. You can either have a quick hot shower or you can have a cooler, longer shower. But the cover on the outside of the vehicle must come off when heating the water on gas, because it's stopping the flue from allowing the exhaust fumes out of the vehicle. So you will get a red light on here if you've left the cover on, or you will get a red light on if you've either run out of gas or forgot to turn the gas on. So in the bottom of your wardrobe, if you lift the wardrobe floor out, you'll notice at the back you've got this sticker which indicates that there's a water lever underneath, which there is. This is it. So if you've got a full tank of water and you're then ready to move and you're going to do a longer drive to your next site, there's no need to carry the excess water, because it's going to increase the usage of your diesel when you're driving. It's going to take up extra weight which you could use for other items. So to drain the water down from 100% to 20%, so it leaves 20 litres, you use this lever. So lift it up, put the pump on and open the tap. It'll drain off all the water but leave 20 litres. So that'll give you enough to stop off, have a cup of tea if you're on a longer journey, or use the toilet until you arrive at your site. To operate your electric drop down bed, make sure that your lights are turned on the panel, because they are wired through the lights. You don't have to have the lights on, just as long as they're turned on the panel. And then there's a button just here underneath the kitchen bench, and you'll be able to bring the bed down and it'll stop, so it'll not crash with the sofas or the table. You've got a ladder that's in the garage which clips onto here, and you'll gain access to the top of the bed. And then should you be putting children up there, you've got some cargo netting that clips to these chrome catches and the loops on the ceiling to stop them rolling out of either side of the bed. And then one little tip for when you're winterizing the vehicle with a drop down bed: don't leave it up on the ceiling, bring it down so air can circulate between the ceiling and the top of the mattress, as this will stop condensation from happening and the roof from staining if the mattress was to be kept up all times in the winter. So to make your lounge from a lounge into the smart lounge, into the travelling seat configuration, remove the cushions. You have to keep the bigger base and the backrest, but remove them all off to start with. Turn the black knob at the back as far back and lift the backrest up. It's got Isofix on the bottom for children's car seats. Pop your base cushion back on and your backrest. And then this panel here for the footwell just pushes in, and there you have another travelling seat. So you've got both of those on either side. And then on the other side you've got your other smart lounge, which creates up the same as this side. And then this one is fitted with the 5th belted seat, so you get your backrest and you slide it down on the locating pins. So if you lift it off, you'll see 2 catches. You've just got to line them up using a base cushion, and this seat behind the passenger seat is a backward facing lap belted seat. To operate the table, slide it out and lift the worktop extension out, and you push it away from you, slide it over. But if you did want the table out the way, it's a fixed table, but you can push it down into a coffee table by pressing the red lever. So press the red lever, and then what you want to do is push your body weight down on it until it clicks in like so, and this is the table down in position. Above the cab, make sure that this key is turned on to work your drop down bed, because your motor's behind there, so that's the control for the motor. So if you do have children playing with switches, you can isolate the switch so that the bed's not gonna come down unexpectedly. And behind, if you ever did get a 12 volt power failure where your bed was up or down and you really needed it back out the way or down, remove the key, remove this cover, and there's a winding handle that goes on the top of the motor, and you can manually wind the bed up and down. So now in the cab, which is based on a Mark 8 Transit, you do have your handbrake to your right, and it's a foldable handbrake to allow the seat to spin. So you might think it's off when it's down. It's not. You've got to lift it up, click the button in, bring it up a notch, and then release, and you'll see that the red light in the bottom of the speedo goes out, and that's it off. And then ratchet it back up to put it back on. On the doors you've got your driver and passenger electric windows, and then you press this button here which locks both cab doors and the habitation door, because the habitation door on the premiums, titanium premiums, is central locking. Mirror adjustment here, so you can choose your right or left mirror and adjust it, which is the big mirror. The little mirrors you've got to adjust by hand, so just drop the window and pop your hand out and adjust that to suit. Remus cab blinds on all of the cab windows, so pinch and slide, and you've got these on the driver and passenger doors. And then on the windscreen, if you pinch and slide, pull the mirror out slightly because it needs to just tuck behind the mirror. Do the same the other side. And you do have your blind for your windscreen. Got your lights, so leave them on automatic, and then you can adjust your headlight adjustment. When the lights are on, you can dim the brightness, so you can brighten and dim the speedo. So this the instrument cluster, in case it's too bright or too dull for you to see. And then you do have your front fog lights and your rear fog lights. Wipers, indicators, cruise control, so get your desired speed, push up to set, and then you can go up and down to adjust the speed if you need to slow down or speed up without using the accelerator. If you've got to cancel it on here or by the brake, you can press resume and it'll set the last speed that you had it set at before the engine was knocked off. Or if you want to use the limiter, you can press lim, and then on the top it says limiter, and at the minute it's 26. If you just keep pressing, it goes up in 1 miles per hour increments, and you can have that. So whether you feather the throttle, it'll not go over that until you floor it, so push the accelerator right to the floor and it'll override it as a safety feature. Volume and mute. Here will scroll through this screen, so you can scroll through. You can have a digital speedometer. You can see how many belts are fastened. You can view the how many miles you've done on the trip, the time you've spent driving, your miles per gallon, your average speed, and your range, all on there. Or you can press here and go down to trip computer 2, because you've got 2 trip computers. Go to maintenance. You can see the oil life, the AdBlue range. So at the minute it's telling you you'll do 4,000 mile before topping the AdBlue up, but normally it would be 3,000 mile, and then the light would come on and give you a 1,000 mile countdown. So do just top that up, because if you allow it to go too low, the engine won't start. And then you can see your levels there, so you can see that the minimum refills 5 litres, the maximum refill, so what it needs to take is 6.2 litres to fill it. And then your AdBlue level there, so you can actually see that you've got a bit to fill up there. And then you've advanced settings. You can go into chimes for information. You can vehicles, you can do your headlight delay, so 10, 20 or 120 seconds, and that's between locking the van and the headlights staying on as courtesy lights until you're in the house or parked up, if you need that headlights to stay on to get you into a dark place, unlocking the door and so on. Locks, turn all your auto locking off so that your locks, the key never locks itself in the vehicle. Remote start, you can have the climate control as on auto, or you can have it on the last setting, so it'll go straight back to the last setting. Have your seats, that's just your seat belts, and your duration is just how long. But that's all on there. But that's all explained in your Ford handbooks. You've got a mode switch here, which is between normal and eco. So you'd leave it in normal until you got up to speed. So say you are joining the dual carriageway, you want it in normal, so you can give it a bit of power to get you up to speed. Once you get up to speed, if then you knock it into eco, the power will be limited, but you'll still be up at that speed, so you'll still be able to increase your speed to a maximum of 73 miles per hour. If you want to go any faster to overtake or have a bit more power, just pop it back into normal, overtake, and then pop it back into eco. From a few customers I've spoken to, eco saves you a lot of fuel apparently, depending on how many miles you do, so it's worth putting it into eco once you're at speed, and sitting comfortably on the motorway, just tootling along in eco, because it'll save you your diesel. And then you do have your traction control, so if you're spinning on wet grass, turn it off. The electronic stability control shouldn't kick in, and you should be able to give it the revs it needs to get it off. 6-speed power shift gearbox by Ford, so park at the top, down to reverse, which will bring on your rear view camera, and then you can go down to drive. So you do have drive, and you can use the thumb switch to go if you want a manual, or you can pop it down into manual, which is the M, and it comes up on M here, and then you can use the thumb switch to go between your gears. But if you were struggling in drive, if you thought it was a bit struggling, you can just drop it a gear in here. But this gearbox learns how you drive, so if you're one that quite likes to put your foot down, it'll change gear a lot quicker. If not, then if you're quite a more careful, slower driver, then what you can do is it'll hold the rev slightly longer and just to get you up to speed, and then it'll change. But if you want to build up speed, it reacts to the throttle, and it'll change gear a lot quicker. Climate control, so fan speed this side, off and on. Heated mirrors, buttons, your screen, so your fans for your screen. Face, feet or footwells, where you want the air to be blown to. Heated windscreen on the Ford. Aircon in the summer, and recirculation. Hazard button just under there, and you've got a USB for the head unit and a 12 volt. Lockable glove box. And now we get on to your Accent head unit. So if you've had an Accent head unit fitted with the Connect pack, this is what it is. You've got a little chip in here, which is a separate item for the sat nav, which will bring on your navigation. So if we start off with your nav, you press your navigation. Give it a moment and it'll start loading, so it will run through its system. If you've put your card in, it'll do what it's doing now, because it's not been set up before, so it just asks you what language you want. But once the card's been registered, it'll be a lot quicker than this. So when you press sat nav or navigation, it'll come up with this one, which is just the software product information telling you about you shouldn't be looking at it when you shouldn't be using it when you're driving and so on. So just press accept. It's just the terms and conditions. It'll bring on a map and show you where you are. So this is where we're located at the moment, Tyne Valley Motorhomes. That's just an overview of the roads. If you want to program it to use sat nav, go to the right hand corner, the three little lines, press on it and press new route. Address, obviously these will in here will come up with your recent destinations in here. Press address, and where it says Crookgate Bank, that's just where we are now. If you put your town or your postcode in there, so if you just punch in, for the sake of this, we'll say we're going to Edinburgh, so it brings up the cities there. Click Edinburgh, so you've put Edinburgh into there, and go to town. This is an overview, so that's where you're going, Edinburgh. Select destination, it'll say calculating route. And then it's giving you 110 miles from here, and it's going to take you 2 hours and 50 minutes to reach Edinburgh. Press start, and then it'll tell you where you're going. And that's the sat. And then if you want to end the route, just press end. So that's your sat nav. And there's shortcuts for sat nav, reverse and camera, DAB radio, and Bluetooth on the bottom. But if you go back to home, you can go on the radio, which is FM, AM, and press presets and save 6 radio stations. Or you can go to DAB and get your national channels. Go to your list, and it'll start to load them there. And you can choose, and then you do get your regional stations. So Tyne and Wear, where we are, we've got our regional stations. You've got your BBC national stations for radio 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on, and then another national file for all your talk, sport, absolute radios and so on. And again, you can press preset and save 6 of your favourite DAB channels. Going to Bluetooth is where you'd want to connect your phone, so you can receive calls when on the road and stream your music, because it doesn't take a CD. So it'll search for your phone here. What you want to do is you want to go into your settings of your phone, go to Bluetooth and start searching for this as that's searching for you. And it'll come with Accent. Press Accent on your phone and it'll come up here, Callum's iPhone, whoever's phone, and just press pair. Once you've pressed pair, it'll come up on your device, on your phone. If you want to allow your contacts to be sent over, downloaded, just press allow and it'll download your contacts on the contacts. So you can click contacts and scroll through your list of contacts. And then finally you have music, so you can click on here, and if you've got music, Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, you can use all of that through here. And then you've got camera, so no matter if you're going forward in drive, you can always see behind you, but you can come in and out of this. So if you are towing a car or wanting just to check on the back of the vehicle, you can press cam, and that's why you've got a shortcut just here. And then finally, obviously using the USB and iPod will light up. Go into settings. This is the XF280 sat-nav unit. You can go onto Xsense website, download updates for free, but put a memory stick in the side of your computer, laptop, and download it onto that. Pop it into here, and then you want to go to other, and you want to install the software off the stick. Should you ever get this sat-nav to become glitchy or slow, it's just time for an update, and they're updated at least twice a year on the website, so you can put a new software update on your head unit, so it'll sort glitches out and bugs should anything go wrong with the sat-nav and the head unit.